So I think I'm going to give this video a suitably pretentious title. Something poetic, something vaguely, nominally related to what we're talking about. But yeah, I think I'm going to go some kind of like high class haute couture bullshit. That's what we're gonna do. I think I'm going to call it the sixth extinction. Partly because I want to talk about the Death Stranding 2 trailer, okay? Listen, Death Stranding 2 has come out with its I think second or third trailer by now, and it's been fantastic. I mean, it's given us the most, concrete idea of what the gameplay will be, the environments that we will see. And look, what this thing does first and foremost is prove the cowards wrong. I have been so tired of seeing people tell us that, oh, there's nowhere else for gaming to go, graphically wise. And while I will agree that you are no longer necessarily going to see a jump from like standard definition to high definition, I think that what you're seeing now is nuance, You take a look at speakers, for example. Look, they've been making fantastic speakers for the last 40 years. But what has happened is that the barrier to a higher level of performance has steadily gone down. So now, speakers, and I know this from experience, headphones that cost $300 are sounding as good as headphones that was costing $800 to $1,500, say 20 years ago. But what that also does is that now the $100 headphones are sounding as good as headphones that were costing $400 to $500 8 years ago, so on and so forth. So what's left at that top end? What are the $2,000 headphones doing now? What they're giving you is more nuanced, a more refined presentation, and that's what you're getting. So yes, when it comes to video games, we experience it the same thing. When you see the presentation given by the games nowadays, you understand that indie games can look as good as AAA games just a few years ago. There are indie games now that will put a lot of our favorite classics to shame if they were put side by side, obviously on different hardware. And that's a good thing. The barrier to excellence has been made more reachable by more people. But then there are still people at the top, and they must still exist. They must always be there. The people that are pushing the avant garde. And Hideo Kojima has created for us a stunning, stellar example of what that might look like. Because when you look at that game, when you look at the presentation that it delivers, you are like, I don't know, for me, it is unimaginable to think that anyone could look at that and still think that, oh, there isn't further to go. There's always further to go. I'm very happy with that. The same happens in the camera world. There were famous photographers 50 years ago. They were shooting on cameras that, quite honestly, did not have even 1% of the quality that the cameras today can present. And we love their photos, and we can still love their photos to this day. And so now, nowadays, if you go and you get yourself a dedicated camera that costs, say, $1,000 and up, you are working with better equipment than most professional photographers were working with in the past 40 to 60 years of photography. You have something that is technically more stunning, more capable, easier quite a lot of times to use. So that's fantastic. But there still exists 6,000, 7,000, $20,000 cameras. What do those bring that the $1,000 camera doesn't do? Well, again, it's about the nuance. Again, it's about the detail. The things that are subtle. It's not something that you experience on a Twitter video or a Twitter stream or a Twitter post. It's something that when you print out the image in large format, you get to see it. Or when you pixel peep, when you take the time to sit, to look, to analyze, you get to see it. I was looking at the Death Stranding 2 trailer, and I've watched it about 6 or 7 times by now, but I just watched it right before this video just to make sure that I could get myself in the mood of what I wanted to talk about. And you know what blew me away the most this time around? It wasn't the environments or the gameplay changes, it was the facial expression. But it wasn't even the emotion, it was the quietude of the expression. It was the pauses. It was all of the things that were unsaid, unspoken. All of the subtlety, even of a person simply looking blankly at someone, and how that can carry just as much emotion as anger or passion or any other thing. That's what blew me away this time. And that's what I like. I like games. Like this is why we play games a lot. My favorite games, I often replay them 2 or 3 times because I get to experience something more. It's like reading a book over again. There's just subtlety there that was always there, but that was easy to miss on your first pass. And then by the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth time, you're like, wow, this was here the entire time. And you appreciate it more deeply. You can do the same thing with graphics alone. You take a look at the banner holder so far this generation, which has been Horizon Forbidden West, especially when you take a look at the Burning Shores expansion. Death Stranding 2, rightfully so, puts even that presentation to shame. And that is a fantastic thing. And we have seen now with the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? We've seen now footage of Assassin's Creed Shadows running on it. And Assassin's Creed Shadows, despite the fact that I honestly do not think it should be called an Assassin's Creed game because Ubisoft has bastardized that franchise so much that it's so divorced from its identity, I will always hold it in contempt for that. I'm not going to buy Assassin's Creed Shadows, not because I believe it's DEI or woke or any of that nonsense, not because I believe it's a bad game, but because I don't think it's an Assassin's Creed game. And I don't mean that there aren't assassins in it, but I just mean that Assassin's Creed died when Desmond died. Because that was the point where they were actually weaving a dual narrative of the modern day and how that related to the past and how the past interacted with the modern day, which was like so phenomenal. Like when you were in Assassin's Creed, whether it was True, Brotherhood, or I think it was Revelations, and then Ezio is talking to Desmond, you're like, what? What the hell is going on? And it was so cool that it had that own unique spin on things. Now it just feels like historical showcase where we're going to give you a good enough reason for you to think you're the good guy as you go and you murder all of these people for the greater good. It just that's a little thing. But that's Ubisoft's machinations. The game itself is a stunner. And what I wanted to say is that this generation now, even the third party publishers are now finally getting on board, bringing us a presentation that is stunning. Now, is it better than, say, a Ghost of Tsushima? No, but it is more elevated compared to where they previously were themselves. We are seeing third-party publishers and everything follow the lead that first-party studios are setting, following the standard, and that's a good thing because all around games get better. So that's great. That's fantastic. Now, I want to talk about the sixth extinction because I believe that our medium, our way of conversation is going extinct. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of fakery in gaming conversation now. And a lot of that fakery is actually promoted by the people that are supposed to be the stalwarts of this industry or this side of the conversation. The people that are supposed to be the guardians and the standard bearers for this side of the conversation. You have a lot of gaming journalists that have taken it upon themselves to just peddle lies, peddle false theories, easily disprovable shit. And this is at an industry wide level to where when you are the reasonable one and you say, like, hey, this isn't based on fact. This doesn't sound right. This is not anything to do with any semblance of reality. People take you as an abnormally. When I say that Destin Legary's gaming journalism career should die, because it should, because he's lied to the people, because he still lies to the people, because his theories were ironically fanboy nonsense, even though they would call you, me, myself, fanboys or whatever. And then they are proven wrong. And instead of being like, wow, we really let go of the plot right there. No, instead they want to then turn around and be like, yeah, either this is a good thing, or we always knew it was going to happen, or this or that. Nobody wants to take accountability. I think the gaming journalism careers should die. They can keep being gamers, I don't mind. But when you say that you're extreme, you are, I don't know, pushing a political agenda, like not being lied to is something that you're not allowed to rail against. When we talk about the Death Stranding 2 trailer, another way that I'm saying this gaming discourse become extinct is the fake hypers. You have people that have rallied against the original Death Stranding, being a FedEx simulator, a walking simulator, this and that. And by the way, it is. It is. It's just that it is within a fascinating context. But they didn't care about that fascinating context. They didn't care about the world building. They didn't care about the understanding of why this might be a compelling experience for people. And they didn't have to, and they still don't have to. But when those people turn around and then they act hyped about what they saw in Death Stranding 2, what do you think you'll be doing there? Like, you're still going to be having a FedEx simulator, a walking simulator. And when I say that, I don't mean that as a negative thing. I like that. I platinumed Death Stranding 1. I spent over 100 hours in Death Stranding 1. I finished platinuming the game and I've gone back to deliver more packages because there's something meditative about that experience. There is something compelling about that, just the sheer act of walking. I've made deliveries that were slower than they had to be because I decided to walk, even though I have built so much infrastructure by then in the game that I could have had much easier time or faster. But I didn't want to because, again, Death Stranding can be a meditative experience. But you see a lot of this fake hype. People see the beautiful visuals and everything, and I appreciate that they see that, and I appreciate that they can be compelled by that. But for a lot of them, I don't believe it. I don't believe it's genuine. I saw that fake hype happen all of the time, even with Astrobot. Astrobot was not mega hyped because of the shorter development, it's a shorter announce window to release of the game, which I always think is a fantastic positive thing. It lets this thing not get out of control. But people hyped up Astrobot and it didn't sell like a hyped up game. On the Xbox side, we've seen this fake hype kind of rear the uglier version of itself because people act hyped about things they're not actually hyped about, even though those things are already out. And then they pretend that those things are better than they are. People being hyped about fucking Scorn, fucking the Pathfinder or whatever the fuck that was. Remember at launch? People be like, oh, you don't have like the Pathfinder on your PlayStation 5, you only have Spider-Man. It's just like, what are you on about? Why are you even putting these games in contention or in competition with a game like a Spider-Man? Like, people being hyped about. Do you remember Psychonauts 2? How they were trying to like glaze us with like, oh my god, Psychonauts 2 is like the best game ever and it's so creative. It's fucking ugly. It's a fucking ugly game. It's an art style. Oh, it's an artistic choice. It's an ugly artistic choice. Yes, just like the Concorde, what is it? Costume design was ugly, and I've always called it ugly. I liked Concorde. I thought that their costume design, their skins that you could unlock, were fucking ugly. So I called them fucking ugly. Fucking Psychonauts too. We have people now telling us that what is it? They try to do it with Redfall. Redfall. Remember the fucking Cold Eastwood's like, oh my god, it's such a great game, blah 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 blah. Then it comes out and everybody's disappointed. Well, I didn't play like this. Well, this happened. Well, this. It's like, shut up. You have no integrity. You knew what you were doing. You knew the game wasn't all that. People are like, oh, I didn't experience any bugs. Bro, it wasn't the bugs. It wasn't the bugs. It was the game that was shit. But you were there glazing it like it's going to be the next fucking Halo franchise for Xbox. Now we have this. Oh, remember Pentiment? Everyone always tried to be like, "Oh my god, Pentiment! You know that fucking book. It's such a wonderful game." Shut the fuck up. And the thing is, I don't even mind in the like titles. I don't even mind the book. I've played A King's Quest. I still haven't finished it, but that's basically an interactive novel. But you know what I don't do? I don't put A King's Quest in contention with fucking Doom. You know what I mean? Like I just yeah, it's almost like you have to keep it protected. If these people came out and were like, listen guys, Pentiment is a cool little adventure, it's a different kind of story, and it's enjoyable. If you are interested, go play it. I think you will be like delightfully surprised. Nobody would be going on about this. It would be perfectly fine, wouldn't it? If they simply said like, hey, Psychonauts 2 is, it's a cool game. It has a different art style. But it also has those and things that are provocative and that can get you to think. I think it's a fun experience. If you're interested, go ahead and play it. If they said that about Grounded, if they said that about Sea of Thieves, and they just kept it level headed, just go, just chill. Not trying to put these games like, oh, this should be a game of the year. Oh, this should be going up against a Red Dead Redemption. This should be going up against a God of War. This should be going up against a fucking Gran Turismo. No. There's like there's levels to this, as Dog Dark would say, right? And if something is on level 1, don't pit it against something on level 19. Just leave it alone. Let it be on level 1. Pick a freaking, I don't know, a Pentiment versus, I don't know, a As Dusk Falls, right? Okay, interactive novel to interactive novel. Pit it against a Life is Strange. Again, interactive choice-based heavy things. Pit it against that. Things that are on its level. That's it. Now we have people doing the same about Avowed. Oh, Avowed is the greatest RPG. Oh, it was such a great RPG. Shut the fuck up. That thing came and went without a sound in the night. That thing is the metaphorical tree that falls in the forest and nobody knows if it even made a sound. It just comes and goes. But then at the end or during the entire year, we have to hear about how Xbox is bringing out games. Oh, Xbox is bringing out games. But where's the quality? Where's the impact? Then they will give you a list. Oh, they bought out this and they bought out that and they bought out this and they bought out that. And as they're bringing out these lists and they're listing these games, you're like, oh yeah, they did do that, didn't they? Because you forgot. Because there was no impact. This is why I also don't like the whole Death Stranding 2 glaze. Death Stranding 2 is a AAA game. Death Stranding 2 is a game that is pushing the guard. Death Stranding 2, I think, is going to be a wonderful experience for those who like it. But it is a niche game. Please, PlayStation gamers, do not go out there and throw Death Stranding out to the mainstream crowd and think that it's supposed to be holding up a flag against a fucking Doom or something, or a fucking Halo, or a fucking, I don't know, like don't use it as ammunition against something that is far more mainstream, like a fucking Call of Duty. If they're like, oh, Microsoft releases Call of Duty, don't be like, well, Sony released Death Stranding 2. Boy, they keep it protected. Keep it in its own lane. Throw it against a niche experience if Xbox brings out one, or if Nintendo brings out a niche experience. Be like, oh yeah, those games that are niche, but that makes the platform unique and it's part of their identity. Okay, well, you have that game over there. All right, well, we have Death Stranding too. It does the same thing. It's a niche title, but it makes a platform unique. But most people, let's say 90% of the gaming public, isn't going to be interested in that experience. But I am happy as a PlayStation gamer that that experience even exists. Because that proves to me that the console manufacturer or the platform holder or whomever is still letting quirky ideas have a strong budget and have strong support. And they are doing that. But no, now I see people creating lists with Death Stranding 2, and it's like, going up against this much more. Like people want like the Death Stranding 2 versus Gears E Day. Bro, why? It's a desperation regardless. And I think it's fake because you all know that there's no way on this planet that a Death Stranding 2 is going in the mind's eye, in the public's eye, up against a Gears of War E Day. Just let it go. Let it go. You don't have to. You've won. Again, this is insecurity. You don't have to have an answer to every listed item that Xbox is delivering, and you're like, well, I need to counter it with this one. No, you're getting the Xbox games anyway. When they tell you all the games that Xbox is delivering, you should say thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You should be smug about it too. Thank you. If Microsoft actually creates a product that is worth the hype, that is genuine, that is great, you should thank them. You should thank Xbox fans for bringing it up because it just reminds you, hey, yes, another great game you're going to get to play. Either on day one or shortly after. There's a lot of fakeness in gaming. Now, apparently, PlayStation gamers are port beggars. Now we want all the Xbox games. Let me be clear. I don't want any Xbox game. I don't. As far as console gaming goes and platform holding goes, I believe in segregation. I believe in exclusives. I don't think that you know what I'm to the point now where I'm worried so much like they've spent so much time these gaming journalists and then so many of these liars and pundits on the YouTubes, on the Twitters, they spend so much time lying to us how exclusives are so unimportant that if anything, it makes me, I don't know, more reclusive, more to be like, you know what? I don't even want Sony to be posting games on PC anymore. I don't care how long it's been. It makes me gonna go towards that way because they keep lying to me about how exclusives are unimportant and how they're actually bad for the consumer. Like, are you fucking crazy? This doesn't happen in any other industry. No one goes like, you know what? iMessage. Apple should be forced by judges to release iMessage on Android. It's so bad that it's exclusive to their operating system. When's the last time you heard that? Yeah, some people are like, well, if you don't have iMessage, I don't want to date you. Apparently, right? Don't believe everything you see on Twitter. But let's even go like that. That some people can't get a date because they don't have an iPhone. Then so what? Fucking get an iPhone then. Like, do what you gotta do. If you want to be with that girl and she needs you to be on iMessage, go on iMessage. Men have done crazier, wilder things for women. If you love her, if you're interested, go and get an iPhone. Do what you gotta do. I believe in exclusives. If uh say Mercedes, they came out with a car recently and it's using a different battery tech. Um no longer lithium polymer or whatever. They're using different tech. And now they are pushing the range up to like 792 kilometers on a single charge, apparently, allegedly, right? If they take that tech, right, and let's just say that they somehow have a patent on it, like whatever, they've got it to themselves. And they keep it for themselves and they refuse to share with the rest of the automotive industry, good. Yes, good. Those other motherfuckers better figure shit out. I believe in exclusives. And no, I don't believe that a company should be forced to share the games or the product or the IP or the patents on other things. Listen, Warner Brothers trademarked the Nemesis system. Therefore, other games can't use it. Oh well. Oh well. But you see, these pundits will then tell you that, oh, Microsoft, Sony, well, whomever, they should all put their games on each other's consoles. Why? Why? So that the lie that you are spreading now can be validated by a world that just doesn't exist. Nobody has ever gone to like McDonald's and be like, you should sell your burgers. Every other fast food and convenience store. When Krispy Kreme has a exclusive deal with 7-Eleven, nobody goes to them and says, "Oh, what you're doing is not okay. I want to be able to have it at Kohl's, at Woolworths, at Walmart's, at Costco. I want to be able to have Krispy Kreme wherever I am." No, exclusives are good. They happen in every industry, and it's only in gaming that we have our own media telling us, gaslighting us into thinking that exclusives are bad. People are like, how do exclusives benefit the customer? How do exclusives benefit the gamer? We've had those discussions. We've proven you one time and again. You just refuse to accept it because at the end of the day, you just think to yourself, I don't want to pay for this. I don't want to get this platform, or I don't want to go about acquiring this game in this way, or I don't want to wait until this game comes to where I prefer to play. Selfish. It does us no good. So, yeah, exclusives are good, but we are being told that they are not. This gaming conversation is going extinct. We really are. You have a lot of fakery around predictions. People are always coming out with rumors and predictions. I've seen PlayStation's moves. I guess recently we have People Can Fly that said that, hey, we are making a prototype title with PlayStation in tow. Okay, cool. Little announcement, shouldn't really have been in the news because there's nothing to report. Now you have gamers fan casting which game it could be. Why? Now people are like, oh, it could be Resistance, it could be SOCOM, it could be this, it could be that. Shut the fuck up. How about that? You don't know shit. They've given you nothing to go on. But no, it's like there's this short attention span, this wheel that needs to keeps to be spun, this more that needs to keep being fed. And it doesn't matter if it's random or bullshit or lies. People are getting into arguments about what this game could be. And I'm like, the fuck? You don't know shit. And they said a prototype. A prototype. Like, is it me? But it's like a prototype, not a guaranteed release of anything. I think People Can Fly put out the announcement for their own benefit, right? Cool. This is maybe because they want to attract talent. Maybe they want to attract more investment. Maybe they want to let their own employees know that, hey, even on a public scale, we are already saying that we are not going to go the way of the dodo bird. So take reassurance, know that your job is safe, whatever it is. Okay, cool. It's cool. But now you have fan casting about, oh, could be Killzone. Like, what the fuck? Is this necessary? Do you not have games? Are you not gamers? Aren't you tired of the rumor mill and the speculations? Aren't you exhausted by this? Another move that PlayStation made recently is the ex Treyarch developer, I think something Sutherland or someone Daryl Sutherland. Sorry, I'm forgetting his name right now. But he created a new studio on the PlayStation, a new PlayStation studio from the ground up. That's actually fucking exciting. He had an interview where he basically announced it. It's called Dark Outlaw. I watched the entire interview and I liked hearing the interview. I liked it. I thought it was a great interview. I think it's fantastic. However, what I was there for was, what does that look like? What does that process look like? Does Sony approach you? Do you approach Sony? Is there some kind of like mutual side eye at one another? Like, hey, we could do this thing. And they're like, oh, we've been talking about doing this thing. Because he tried first a deviation game and that didn't work out. And he speaks a little bit during the interview about why it doesn't work out. Tell you what, I'll take the time and I'll link the interview in the description so you can see it for yourself. Great history on his side of gaming, but also gaming as a whole, because he's been in the industry for like 25 years or something. Fantastic interview. But he doesn't touch on how does it come about? how does PlayStation, how does a new studio get spun up? Because, and I mean, this might be dating me or whatever it is, but I don't remember Sony from the ground up creating a studio for a long time. Like, I just don't see it. I think they've purchased people before, and then they like purchased other studios, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna rename you." I think that happened with Neon Koi, but then they closed it anyway. Um, but like a organic development, I don't even know because Gorilla was purchased, Naughty Dog was purchased, Santa Monica was that created? I don't know. But anyways, I thought it would be fascinating, but it didn't happen. But my point is now you have fans again trying to now guess what his game might be. And I'm just like, why? By the way, if you're going to play the guessing game, when it comes to people can fly, you know what I want their game to be? Concord. Unironically, I want them to bring Concord back. But here's the thing. I don't want the multiplayer of Concord. When Concord was first announced, well, not when it was first announced, but the first like real trailer and had a story element and everything, and it looked like Guardians of the Galaxy in space. I said on Twitter that if this game fails as a live service, please bring it back as a single player story. If you are one of the people who actually bought the game, who actually look at this at the galactic map inside of the game that you got, you saw that there was an entire story there. I spent over 2 hours reading each entry. And then as you play the multiplayer, further entries will come out in the galactic map. So I will go there and then I will read the stories of the characters, the planets, the places, the industries, and it was super fucking fleshed out. And when they canceled the game, I thought to myself, like, man, such a fucking shame that you guys have already done all of this work, all of this lore casting, all of these narrative threads. You've got them all. And then clearly you have these single player story cutscenes, you know what, single player like story cutscenes happening every week. They said they were going to drop them. And I'm like, well, you must have made quite a lot. So you clearly have a semblance of a story. Maybe it's not like a concrete narrative, like a concrete plot, the way that it would need a beginning, middle, and an end for a single player story. But I was like, surely you can get there with what you already have because you've already done 80% of the work as far as I'm concerned. But we missed out on that. And I think it would have been a fantastic single player game. So if people can fly, could go in there and bring back Concord, but bring it as a single player story, man, I think that would be fantastic. I think it'd be great for me. So that's my out of left field, not prediction, but desire. I think Concord had a great single player story buried under a lot of live service shenanigans. And unfortunately, I feel like Sony threw out the baby with the bathwater. Maybe in the future, my dream will come true. But let's move forward. We have a lot of fakeness in gaming. We are going extinct. And what I mean by extinct is people like myself, people like King Thrash, people like Podorock, people like Jay Barry, people like Persona, people like J Dub, people that are here to talk about gaming primarily, first and foremost, because we actually love gaming. Not as a way to make money, not as a way to grift money or views or reactions or engagement out of people. People that are ready to be honest about what they want and about what they don't want. And listen, I have fundamental disagreements with some of these people. Jay Barry and I will never see eye to eye on the issue of how often should the showcase happen or how far should that showcase predict the future or reveal the plans that are coming up for PlayStation. I am sure Jay Barry still to this day would love a showcase that lets him know what comes out in the next 4 years. You guys know that I am vehemently against that. But I believe that Jay Barry's intentions are good. This is just what he wants. This is how he enjoys gaming. He's not here to then take that content and grift on it. He's not here to then take that content and call it DEI or woke or make fun of it or laugh at it or even wrongfully praise it for something that it's not doing. He just enjoys gaming in this way. Same way that Podrock feels about this particular issue. Podrock would also love to know what is coming out in the next 5 years and be able to know that, and he doesn't mind so much that the wait is going to be there. He enjoys knowing it. Cool. I can respect that. I disagree with it, I frankly think it is. Let's be charitable. I will say that it is misguided. Yeah, but that's how they feel, and I can respect how other people feel. But that is that is not that is not the case with the Cold Eastwoods. These people that are here to lie. It's not the case with the Ryan McCaffrey's firmware Ryan, as I call him, because these people just download the instruction set from Microsoft and then they just change their mind, just change their mind on a dime, just spin the bottle wherever it lands. That's the new stance, no matter how diametrically opposed that might have been from the stance only a few months ago, or even diametrically opposed it might be from the stance right now, in present, live, 365, 24/7, right at this second. They can tell you that exclusives are bad, but then at the same time turn around and tell you that, oh, well, Nintendo, that doesn't apply to them. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? They can tell you that the PlayStation 5 Pro is expensive, but then do not mind when a GPU costs $1,000 or more, and that is a card. That is not a gaming system. That's a part by itself. And they'll tell you how great a value it is. They will tell you that, oh, well, you will see a 20% improvement over X or Y. By the way, I'm just realizing now that I might have been peaking some of these things. I'm gonna have to rework these settings because basically I had settings before that were great for my microphone, and Windows decided for some reason that those were too low. And I've restarted my computer a few times since, and I'm seeing that these settings might be too high now because I had to update them. So I apologize if the presentation has been substandard so far, but Windows is a piece of shit, and I'm just trying to do the best that I can. I swear to God, when I get money, I'm gonna go to Mac. I'm going to put up with that shitty operating system because I think it at least give me consistency over this crap. I don't even know. So we are going extinct because we are the people that are talking about the gaming industry. We are the people that are trying to look ahead. We are the people that are trying to compare to other industries. Have you ever noticed that these other people, the fucking Alexes of the world, they never seem to compare to other industries to be like, well, if it works here, then it probably works here. No, there's no intelligence behind their thoughts. There's only the grift. There's only the rage bait. There's only the thing that will get them clicks or that will appease the fan base. What's going extinct is the generation or the character of people that want to take a step back, look, focus, analyze, and yeah, praise these companies when they do right. We're not thinking that Sony is our friend. Jesus Christ. I spend more on Sony products and material over my life between my cameras, my lenses, my TVs, my audio systems than most gamers ever will. Sony doesn't send me a thank you gift. Like, it's a business, and I'm a client of that business. And I understand the relationship should stop and end there, and that's cool with me. That's how I prefer it. So when we give praise, it's because we are seeing the medium being pushed in the direction that we want to see it, which is forward advancement. The PlayStation 5 Pro has been revealed with Assassin's Creed Shadows to be just as worth it, as we always said. I was listening to the podcast, the live that Paul Dog had with Doc Dark. Fantastic, fantastic episode. You'll love it. You should watch it. And at a certain point, Doc Dark starts to question the value of course. Of course, somebody calls me in the middle of my spiel. Give me a second, people. And it says suspected spam. Oh God, sorry worth it. Sorry about that. I was listening to the podcast, and at a certain point, Podork starts no, Dog Dash starts to question the supposed value of the PlayStation 5 Pro. And as I'm listening, I'm realizing that he doesn't question that it's better. He doesn't even question that it is, he kept saying like, is it good enough for the price, for the upgrade? But that's not what he meant. What he meant was you're paying more. That was really his point. Because if your point was, is it good enough for its price? Like, is it big enough improvement for the price premium that it has over the base console? That would be an easy point to make because at the end of the day, it is fundamentally an individual's consideration. Because you're basically saying, is it enough value for money? And value is in the eye of the beholder. So when whatever was telling like, yeah, it is enough for me. I've seen it. I've played it. I've experienced it. Even if I have just one game that shows it, and that game matters to me that much, it's completely worth it. But no, that wasn't good enough. And yet, do you remember when Cyberpunk 2077 was coming out? And all of these PC gamers, like real gamers, were like, oh, I'm going to upgrade my GPU to play this game. That was one game. You don't need 17 titles to throw you over this. It can just take one. If there's just one game where you're like, man, for example, let's say that you're a big Assassin's Creed fan, or you really think you're going to love Assassin's Creed Shadows, and you see the comparisons between the PlayStation 5 Pro and the base PlayStation 5. If you're like, man, that's what I want, it only takes that one game. So his argument was bad faith because he was presenting it as, is it a good enough upgrade? Does it provide enough to justify the premium? But in reality, he was doing what we have now in gaming, which we have the I don't want to pay shit gamer on console. That's basically who they are. They want to mock you for wanting to buy games instead of using a service like Game Pass or I suppose PlayStation Plus, even though let's face it, they just mean Game Pass. They want to shame you for buying games. They want to be like, oh, you are such a sucker for paying games at $70 a pop 4 or 5 times a year. No, instead, go and play those games on a Game Pass or on a subscription. It's funny because I remember Doc there was a time I sympathized with him when he will say that, oh, I enjoy playing on Game Pass. And people will come after him. And I'll be like, why are you going after him? If that is the way that he likes to gain access to those games, let him have access to those games that way. Like, what does it fucking matter at the end of the day how he accesses the games? Game Pass, PlayStation Plus are great services to be able to provide access into a game, into many games. Yes, they have the drawbacks. Obviously, they have the drawbacks. They are not. I think that's probably what people are rallying against because people make it seem like Game Pass is like the revelation of Jesus Christ for the third time. No, it's not. It has pros and cons, and people quite often ignore or downplay the cons, which I think kind of makes people upset. But at the end of the day, you're not supposed to rally against a person for enjoying Game Pass. If that's the way that they want to access the game, let them access the game that way. I'm a big fan of Game Pass. I don't think that the day and date is good because I think that is detrimental to the quality of the games that come out in the future. That was my issue, the day and date component. But the service on its own, by itself, the access to the library, it's cool. It's excellent. Shit, I wish I had this when I was fucking 12 years old. Like, what are you talking about? 400 games with all the time in the world? Like, dude, for a affordable price? Because, man, listen, I didn't grow up in a well-to-do household, right? I didn't even grow up in a middle-class household. I grew up in a household that has always been flirting, with the poverty line, always been a companion to us. So when I think about a service like Game Pass and the advantages that it can provide for people that are in a disadvantaged position, I can't be mad at it. It's just that I think that Microsoft kind of took the piece with the whole day and day thing. But I can criticize the day and day component without trying to throw out the entire service under the bus. Like adults can do that, right? We can hold two ideas to be true at the same time. Day and date is bad, but the library, the catalog, the back catalog, that's good. Keep it around. So people would attack him for that, and I'd be like, guys, like, get off his back. Like, if that's the way he likes. Because he always used to say, like, I'm not the type of gamer to go and pay full price for a game anyway. So I was never going to do that. So yeah, I'm going to wait until it comes to the subscription, or I'm going to hope that it comes to the subscription day one, or whatever it takes. So I'm going to play that way. Cool, no problem. But now he's become the thing that he hated, the thing that he rallied against. Because now he's rallying against people paying for their games. Do you get what I mean? Like, people used to get on his case about how he wanted to access the game, and he would be like, "It's my choice if I want to pay for it for $5, or go through Game Pass, or buy it outright, or whatever. Like, let me choose. Let me be me." But now he wants to rally against how other people choose to access the game. He wants to mock the people who want to pay $70 every time. Mate, there are some people that will pay $70 15 times per year. It's their prerogative. It's their right. You don't have the right to mock that. It's their right to access the game. It's cool. It's fine. It has nothing to do with you. And then the other one is you want to rally against the people that choose to upgrade the PlayStation 5 Pro, whilst at the same time you yourself keep saying that, oh, you're going to consider for the next Xbox whether you buy the Xbox or upgrade your PC. So it's cool for you to have an upgrade for your PC, but it's not cool for people to have an upgrade path for their console. You've become the thing that you hated. It's weird. It's weird. And no, it's all about you're not actually trying to find out whether it's higher value for money. You're not. You're just trying to make a mockery of it. Because maybe for you it isn't worth it. But just say that it's not worth it to you. You're not even a PlayStation gamer like that. You play games on PlayStation, but you're not a PlayStation gamer. And the PlayStation 5 Pro is aimed at the PlayStation gamer, not just at the person that happens to come by once in a while. You are not going to upgrade the bathtub in your third guest room if you're not even the kind of person that likes taking baths anyway. Of course, that's not worth it to you. But if another person is building a home and they love taking baths 5 times a week, are you going to walk over to them and then try to mock them for trying to create themselves a great bathing experience in their own home? No, I don't like swimming pools. I think that most homes should not have swimming pools for the sheer fact that swimming pools are expensive to put in, they're expensive to remove, they're expensive to maintain, they're expensive to run, they're expensive to not run, and they're expensive when it comes to just the physical amount of space that they take up. I think that most homes, no matter how elevated the price tag might be, should not feature pools. Primarily because I'm not the kind of guy to go for a dip or a swim in a pool. I'm not. If anything, I'd rather just go to the ocean. But if I met someone who loved using the pool day in and day out, I wouldn't mock them because that's what it is. You make a mockery of it, you make a ridicule of it. I wouldn't mock them for wanting to have a pool or trying to upgrade their pool or whatever it is that they want to do that is pool related. Let them enjoy it. It's their money, it's their home. Let them have it. Now, problem arises if you happen to marry one of those people and you happen to be one of these people, but hey, you know what? You guys just figure it out, right? Happy wife, happy life, they say. It's hypocritical, Doc. It's hypocritical. You want to say, like, oh, you can consider. And by the way, can I just say, Doc, if you're watching this whole, I have a PC. I've built about 3 PCs for myself, grinding like fully from the ground up, parts and everything. I have a powerful PC. Unlike what people think, like I actually don't have. I mean, I have a problem with Windows, but the actual PC things, it's not that big. It's not that big a deal. I have a powerful PC. This upgrade thing is a bigger myth than you think it is. It really is. Because yes, you can easily swap in and swap out your GPUs. Always. That's probably the easiest component when it comes to the amount of time you have to invest because it's right there. You only undo like one clip and one screw, maybe two screws if you happen to have a heavy graphic card. You can swap it out in like a hot 5 minutes, easy if you know what you're doing. And then you just unplug your cable and plug it back in. For the most part, assuming that you don't have to do a whole piece cable conversion and these things are setting on fire or whatever. But on a normal, everyday, NVIDIA not being shit generation, is the easiest component to swap out. So you can always upgrade that. And the whole PCIe port that, accepts the GPU has been the same since forever to me. Like I can't remember the last time that it changed. So compatibility there is great. But here's the thing, that is swapping your GPU. That's the easy part. Upgrading your PC is not as easy as just swapping a GPU. Yes, a more powerful GPU will give you some amount of improved performance, but there is a certain point where you have to think about bottlenecking. And as soon as you start thinking about bottlenecking, oh man, I can tell you it's a chain reaction. And I can tell you this because I've been through it recently. I had a PC before that I wanted to upgrade the GPU. Then when I looked at the power of that GPU and I looked at the components that were in the PC, I realized that, man, this motherboard isn't even going to take advantage of the new GPU that I'm putting in. So I should change. No, it was not the motherboard, it was the CPU. The CPU wasn't going to take advantage of the GPU. So I'm like, okay, I can swap out the GPU too. That takes a little bit more time, but it's not all that consuming. So I'm like, okay, cool. Then I go and I realize that the new GPUs are on a completely brand new generation. Because I was on 1150 I was LGA 1150, the pins for the Intel CPUs, and they were on 1151. They added one extra pin, and then people rallied against it like this isn't even necessary. But Intel and wanted to force you to upgrade your CPU as well and your motherboard. Now you're upgrading your motherboard. You're like, fine, I guess I'll upgrade the motherboard. Now, by now, this is a huge undertaking because the motherboard connects literally everything. So that means you have to unconnect literally everything and then put it back in. But I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'm going to do that. Then I realized that the RAM sticks that I was using were no longer going to be viable with the new motherboard I was using. I'm like, fuck, are you serious? Like now, I have to upgrade the RAM too. Then I'm like, okay, fine, I'll upgrade the RAM. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. And now I went from upgrading just the GPU by itself to then the CPU, to then the motherboard, to then the RAM. And now you're like, wait a second. If I'm doing all of this and I'm still running off of hard drives or SATA based SSDs, I should just get off of that. I should just go with NVMe SSDs because now my new motherboard is going to have an NVMe SSD and I should run my operating system off of that. By the way, you should do that. It makes your PC much faster. NVMe SSDs are the way to go. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do that. Now I'm upgrading my storage solution. And then by this time, I realized, wait a second. So I'm going to be stripping out a perfectly functioning computer, right? Because it still works. So that I can then swap out all of these parts, which are basically an entire computer on their own. And you know what I was thinking now? I was like, well, I should buy a new case, like a cheap case, like an $80 case or whatever, to put those old components back in there. So then now I can, have two computers and at least I won't be wasting all of these parts. Bro, you know what I realized how stupid that was? I realized that I was going to take a perfectly functioning already built computer, strip it for parts, put brand new parts in, to then rebuild it to be one perfectly functioning computer. Then I was going to get another case. And then I was going to then put all of those stripped out parts in that case to now have two. And then I was like, wait a second, why would I do all of these steps when I can just buy a new case and build a brand new computer parts in there? Because I'm basically fucking, I'm building the entire fucking thing. The only thing I wasn't going to take out of the old case at the end of the day were like some fans and the power supply. And honestly, those are like the cheaper components. Those are the components that you can upgrade over time if you want to. Like I was like, what? Just to save the hassle, I'm just gonna buy a new power supply. I'm just gonna buy new fans because the whole strip out, then put back in, then go put that back in again. That was more time consuming and more expensive because I still have to buy another. I was just like, boy, I'm just gonna buy a power supply. That's PC upgrading. That's the part they don't tell you. Because everybody just always talks about the GPU, about how, oh, it's so easy. You just buy you got a 3060, oh, buy a 4070, or now buy a 5080. And it's like, yeah, if your GPU was one of the top class GPUs for like, the entire time, and so if your CPU was one of the top class CPUs the entire time, and it was always just being held back by your GPU, oh, you can get away with quite a few generations of that. But eventually, especially with you, that's like a $900 fucking Walmart PC. Listen, bro, you're gonna find that If you want to get the best performance out of all of the parts that you're putting in there, oh yeah, it's just better to just build a new PC. You don't upgrade PCs. PC upgrade is it exists, but it's a bigger myth than people think it is. It's not the same, man. It's not the same. It's not the same as for example going on your console and then swapping out your 1 TB drive for a 4 TB drive. Just like you just added the thing or whatever. People make it seem like that, like there's no other downside, but no, there's the system-wide compatibility you have to think about. So there we go. PC upgrades. But if you have the right to go through all of that for your PC because you enjoy PC gaming, where you're going to build basically to yourself a brand new PC anyway, which is going to cost you way more than the price of just a GPU, when the GPU itself is going to cost you $500 to $1,000, $500 to $1,000 at the minimum for you to actually feel an upgrade. Because that's another thing where people are like, oh, I'm going to upgrade from the 2060 to the 3060. Why? That's useless. Upgrade to at least the next tier up in the next generation. If PC gamers, if you have the right to do that, then console gamers have the right to consider, without mockery, without ridicule, the idea of getting a PlayStation 5 Pro. That's it. That's the message. So we're going through the sixth extinction because gaming discourse is dying off, because people are no longer genuine, people are no longer thinking, people are no longer considering. No, instead there's a lot of mockery, a lot of ridicule, a lot of trying to pretend that things are not real actually are, and the things that are real actually are not. A lot of people want to pretend that Xbox has been competition for the last 10 years. They say stupid things like, oh, what will Sony do if Xbox is gone? They will no longer have competition. And I'm like, bro, you're already living your worst nightmare then, because they haven't been had competition for the longest. Pretty much since 2015. Like this whole time, you've been living in the thing that you think you're scared of. This is it. This is the moment where Sony, they haven't been having competition, bro. If Xbox formally closes shop in terms of their hardware, nothing's going to change because you've already been living your worst nightmare. Now, what can happen is that maybe you make it easier for another person to come in the industry, maybe buy up those hardware patents from Xbox and do something about it, so you could actually vote for that. Or you could be to Microsoft, you know what? Let's send you a clear message. This isn't working. Backtrack, we'll forgive you. Hmm? Just tell them, take away Game Pass day and date. We'll forgive you. It's fine. Just bring us back to where we need to be. Course correct. Because I don't see any other way. I don't see any other way for Xbox to stay and be successful at the hardware component, especially if they are going to follow through with the trajectory that they're currently on. And that has been true for the last, basically since Game Pass existed. Since 2017, basically, they've been fucking up. And people have been called them fucking up. And my shame and regret is that I only came into this gaming discussion space on like 2020, 2021. I didn't even know this existed. Jesus Christ, I would have loved it during the PlayStation 4 era. But people were here. People were telling you like this isn't working. So when I came here and I was like, wait, this could never work. What are you guys talking about? I was surprised that other people had been saying it could never work, but you didn't listen to them. That's weird. And now that I am here and I'm telling you that certain things in the future could not work, now people are also not listening to me. And that's why we're going extinct, because it's not sexy, it's not flashy, it's not attention grabbing to say the boring, painful truth or the inconvenient truth. Everybody wants a strong Microsoft in gaming, but they haven't been strong. And what they're doing now isn't making them stronger. And when you say that, people want to call you a bunch of names. Oh, you're a pony, or you're a fanboy, or you care about the plastic box. Oh my God, like what is your PC or your Nintendo or your Xbox or your PlayStation made out of, if not plastic? Hmm? Plastic box. You care about the plastic box. They want to now make it um maladroit to care about your console. They call it the plastic box. And yet they hate the idea of the Xbox console going away. You see the hypocrisy? Why do you care whether or not Xbox makes another plastic box? Why do you want them to make a handheld? Why do you want them to make a what is it? A Asus or OEM assisted replacement device for your console? Why do you care, Mr. or Mrs.? I don't care about the plastic box. It's so weird. It's so weird. You try to minimize it and you penalize it and you ridicule it, but at the same time, you don't want your version of the plastic box or your preferred way to access gaming to go away. PCs are plastic boxes. Oh yes, the cases can be made of metal and glass like mine is. Very cool. I have the Lianli O11D XL. That's how much of a PC gamer I am. I still remember all of these parts names off by heart. I think I still remember the name of my motherboard. Jesus Christ, I think it's like the Asus Strix X-560 or some shit. I don't know. To be fair, don't look that up. I could be getting that wrong. Um, AMD 5900X. Like I'm a PC gamer too. I can listen. I have a what is it? It's a EK water block 360 AIO cooler. Oof, oof. I like PC building, man. I do. I do. It's fun. It's like Lego for adults. I like it. I have a bunch of fans that have like RGB and everything. I don't remember their name though. That's fair. I don't remember their names. But I'm just saying, it's most of it is plastic. I mean, we literally call it silicone, so PCs are plastic boxes, true. Especially for all of you dumbass PC peasants with like your cheap ass cases that are made of plastic, disgusting shit. But hey, you know what? That's fine. If you are going to be a part of the gaming conversation and you are a viewer, I encourage you to give your viewership to people that are not trying to sell you themselves or a personality or a brand or a product or anything else. They're just trying to win you over with good ideas, good thoughts, good debates. Sometimes they get it wrong, but you know that from the at the end of the day, this is truly what they believe, right? They're not trying to flip flop according to whatever it is a company does. If you are going to speak on gaming, then I would encourage you to get in the debate, get in the arena, throw your ideas against other people's ideas, see what comes back, learn from that experience, and partake in gaming and enjoy it. If you're going to simply, I was going to say is that no matter what, whether you're a viewer or a speaker, or whether you switch back and forth like I do, keep gaming. Love gaming. Please love gaming. Whether you love the Psychonauts 2 or the Pentiments or the God of Wars or the Horizons or the Red Dead Redemptions or the Cyberpunks, whether you love indie games or Nintendo games or Xbox games or PC games, love gaming. Because the hobby is meant to be loved. The hobby leads our love. Treat it like it's special because I think that it is, and I think that it deserves to be treated that way. Um, yeah, go ahead and be a champion for gaming. Buy the games that you feel like buying, or use the subscription services if you feel like using those. I don't mind however you get access into gaming. Upgrade your gaming experience to the highest level that you want to, that you desire. And if that level is a Series S, so be it. If that level is a $10,000 PC build, then so be it. If that level is anything in between, price wise, whether that's a PlayStation 5 base, a 5 Pro, an Xbox Series X, a more affordable PC than $10,000, a Nintendo console, go ahead, man. Love gaming because you yourself are going extinct. Gamers that love gaming are going extinct. You see a lot of games announced nowadays, and the very first reaction is hate, pure hate. Oh, it has different names, it has different excuses. Some is because it's Sweet Baby Inc., others because it's DEI, others is because it's woke, other because it's too feminist, other because it's not feminist enough, other because the girls are not sexualized enough, other because girls are too sexualized. Please love gaming. Please give it your support. Give it your time. I'm not saying giving your money, because you can love gaming playing free to play games. You can love gaming playing secondhand games. You can love gaming playing your brother's game or your father's game or whatever it is, but just love the art form. Love the art of it. Love the humanity in it. I see a lot of people talk about AI now and they have this um nonchalant attitude to AI. You're like, oh, yeah, it could be bad, but we'll see. I don't think so. This is an art form, and art forms need to be protected from machines. They need to be protected from AI. It's what makes us human. Do you realize that? That's what art is. Art is fundamentally art, I would argue, because it is not necessary, because it is optional. That's what makes something art. A a shovel can be artistic, but it itself isn't art unless it is made to be art by basically being rendered for display only. You can make something that is functional into art by taking away its need to perform that function. So if I put a shovel on a farm and it is being used every day, that shovel is not art. If I take that very shovel and I put it up on a wall and I put it at a bar or in my house or wherever, and it no longer needs to perform the function of being a shovel, it can become art. So that's the thing that makes art what it is. It's the fact that it doesn't have to serve a survival oriented function. When its function becomes to please us, to remind us, to immortalize us, to do something that has nothing to do with nourishing us or sheltering us or providing for a future in a tangible way, that there is art. Art is art is meant to be fun. It's meant to be fleeting. It is meant to be ephemeral. It is meant to be crude and quirky, and all of these things is meant to be bold, sometimes understated, but fundamentally, most importantly, it's meant to be human. So I don't like AI. I don't like AI generated content in any way, shape, or form. I don't like AI words. I don't like ChatGPT. I don't like AI generated images. I don't like AI videos. I don't like any of these things because that's a machine that is now trying to imitate art. And that is not okay to me. It's not human to me. And I'll leave you with that. Even art is going extinct because now we have people using fucking AI generated thumbnails and they think to themselves, oh, this does no harm. It does. It does. I'm against it. I stand against it always. Okay, that's enough, right? Yeah, there we go. And I will remember to give you a very, what is it? Artistic, pretentious ass title.